Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Bhajanharanjana Sodana Yasodanandana Bhajanharanjana Sodanandana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Bhajanharanjana Yasodanandana Bhajanharanjana Sudanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya Asatar Sati Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya. Astatara Sata Shri Shri His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. And all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Vishnu Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Te Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devim Gaudavani Pacharane Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Paschitya Deshatarane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 4, text 24 and 25 today. Since the 24 does not have a purport, I will start from the translation of 24. Fully believing in the words of the goddess Durga, Kamsa exhibited his familial affection for Devaki and Vasudeva by immediately releasing them from their iron shackles. 10:4:25. Bratu samanu taptasya Shantaro sacha devaki Vyasrajad vasudevascha Prahasyatam uvachaha Ratu samanu taptasya Shantarosha cha devaki Sorry. Vyasrajad vasudevascha Rahasyatam uvachaha. Please chant. Santarosa cha devaki Ladies, please. Ratu samanutaptasya Shantarusha Chadevaki Yasridra Rahasyatamu Jaha Samanu Ratu Samanu Taptasya Shantarosha Chadevaki Yasvijad Vasudevascha Rahasya Vascha Mamatya Rahasyantamu Vachaha. Word for word. Ratu toward her brother Kamsa. Samanu Taptasya, because of his being regretful. Shantarosha was relieved of anger. Cha, also Devaki, Krishna's mother. Devaki. Vyasrajat gave up. Vasudeva cha. Vasudeva also. Prahasya, smiling. Tam, unto Kamsa. Uvacha, said. Ha, in the past. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. When Devaki saw her brother actually repentant while explaining ordained events, she was relieved of all anger. Similarly, Vasudeva was also free from anger. Smiling, he spoke to Kamsa as follows. Purport. Devaki and Vasudeva, both highly elevated personalities, accepted the truth presented by Kamsa that everything is ordained by providence. According to the prophecy, Kamsa would be killed by the 8th child of Devaki. Therefore, Vasudeva and Devaki saw that behind all these incidents was a great plan devised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the Lord had already taken birth, just like a human child, and was in the safe custody of Yashoda, everything was happening according to plan, His plan. And there was no need to continue their ill feeling toward Kamsa. Thus, they accepted Kamsa's words. Om Agyana Timidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitam Yena Tajmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I need to switch to turn it off. Oh, here it is. Thank you. I want to do that again because I wasn't really concentrating. Om Agyana Timidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitam Yena Tajmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto his lotus feet. So here we see that Kamsa has explained his situation, he has explained his actions, and he has even gone further, as that he has apologized, if not actually profusely, to Devaki and Vasudeva, to the extent of actually prostrating before them, flat out, his head at their feet, tears streaming down his cheeks, and begging for their forgiveness. He has explained a few verses back that whatever has happened was ordained by providence. It was as if he didn't have anything to do with it, which is rather humorous, because nobody denied him, at least obviously, apparently, of his free will. But by his free will, he took the ankles of each baby who was born to Devaki, whirled those babies around and smashed their heads on the stone floor, one after another, without the slightest compunction, without the slightest remorse, without the slightest regret. This had to be done as far as he was concerned, because one of these children had to be the one that would kill him. Narada Muni had mentioned to him that although it was the eighth can mean starting from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, from the middle up to the top, and then going down from the bottom and going up. So it could mean any number of possibilities. So the point was, don't take any chances. Any one of them could be the eighth, and therefore kill them all. Makes life, very simple for him. It takes the guesswork out. So that was quite simple for him, and it was a terrible, most harrowing experience for Devaki and Vasudeva, their children, watching them being slaughtered right in front of them. I mean, think about it. We have to put ourselves in their position for a few moments and just imagine that you're in this prison cell, and this madman is killing your children with happiness. Got this one out of the way. Finally got this one out. Just 4 more to go. That kind of a mentality. It's hideous. It's barbaric, demoniac. And yet here now, he has taken a complete about-face, a complete turn. And why is that? Well, there was Durga. He thought the little girl who he's holding, who he's going to try to kill, she slipped out of her hands and went up to the high ceiling and turned into goddess Durga. She was just a little baby. And then, because she was a demigoddess, one of the most powerful female demigoddesses that there are, so powerful that even Kamsa was afraid of her. He wasn't afraid of Indra, Dave. He wasn't afraid of Surya. He wasn't afraid of Vayu. He wasn't afraid of any of the demigods but Durga. She's in charge of the whole material energy. She could just swallow him up in a minute. Anybody who read the life of Tulsi Devi, there was a big battle. And Kali, she didn't waste any time. She made herself extremely huge, large, gigantic. And when she was in the battle, she was fighting. And she would just pick them up and swallow them, just chew them up. And the picture that's in my book, you can see them hanging out of her mouth, kind of with the head hanging down, feet hanging down. It was really something. So Kali is a very, very powerful woman. And she loves to kill demons. And she really enjoys, that's her pet joy. We had another incident in which Kali, when it does pretty much the same, when Bharat Maharaj is about to be beheaded. He's a great devotee of the Lord, and he's going to be offered to a goddess Kali. And so what does she do? She's a statue, but she's a deity statue. The statue comes to life. She jumps off, and all her servants come with her, yoginis or whatever you want to call them, dakinis, and they race towards the priest and to the head of these are called thugs. They kill human beings, offer them into the fire. So they immediately took the cleaver that was supposed to be used for Bharat's head, and they just chopped head off, head. And then to make it even more fun-filled for them, they started playing with the heads, tossing them back and forth. And drinking the blood, of course, because that was their thing. That's their drink. That's what they get high on, if you will. So trying to kill devotees who are dear to Krishna is a very dangerous, dangerous thing. So here we have Kamsa. He realizes when he sees Durga Devi, he realized that she must be dear to Devaki. So dear that she would take birth, she would appear from her. Otherwise, why would a great goddess appear from Devaki, his apparent sister? So therefore, if Durga is favorable, lovingly so, towards Devaki, and he has committed so many atrocities against Devaki, well, what is her feeling going to be toward Kamsa? Not very high, not very great. In fact, in a very tough voice, harsh voice, she says to him when she's up in the air, she said, the child who will kill you has been born elsewhere. Don't be so harsh on your sister. Well, that's a cue for him that you better be gentle, you better be soft, you better be sweet, or else. And she could, so easy for her to destroy him. So he got the message very loud and very clear. And so what he did is, what I said he would do, did what he did, is that he said this was all ordained by providence. So he didn't know the details. At least if he did, it's certainly not mentioned in the text or in the purport. But the detail is that's true. This was ordained by providence. Going back in time, Kamsa's name was Kalanemi, and he was the son of Hiranyakashipu. And the sons of Kalanemi, at some point in time, they turned away from Hiranyakashipu, did I say he was the son of Hiranyakashipu? Okay. So they turned away from Hiranyakashipu and began worshiping Lord Brahma to gain power. And Hiranyakashipu, who was the most powerful person on the planet, he was wondering, why are they worshiping Brahma when they could worship me? I can give them all the powers that they need. I'm so full of power. So finally, he questioned them, he interrogated them, why are you doing this? And they told him, well, we wanted more power. He says, this is an insult. You have to go to somebody else to get power when you can come to me as if I have no power? Is that what you're implying? So they could say nothing. So what happens is, for this insult, for this offense, I curse you. You will be born as the sons of Devaki, and your father, Kalanemi, who's your father now, will be your killer. This is my curse. Now, Kamsa's curse is very powerful, and you can't undo a curse unless you're equally, if not more so, powerful. There's such a thing as baffling a curse. Baffling, or what you do is you nullify the curse, but that takes a very powerful person to do that. In this particular instance, Kamsa had no desire whatsoever to baffle any curses. I don't think he knew that there was a curse. His only desire was to kill the 8 children of Devaki, in order that none of them would be able to kill him in the future when they would be grown up, and thereby destroying or harming or hindering his desire to be the emperor of the world. That's what he wanted. Therefore, he had no desire, he had no reason to baffle or nullify this curse. But now we've come to a different situation, and he realizes that if he doesn't act nicely, if he doesn't change his tune, if he doesn't become gentle, then it's going to be very rough for him. And that's what he does. Remember, great big-time politicians and kings and princes and the like, they're very, very good at the process of diplomacy. Diplomacy means doing things politically, doing things to your advantage, even if you don't like them, even if you don't care. But the text mentions very clearly that Kamsa sincerely apologized. He said, I'm really sorry. It was very terrible of me, but, I was under the impress, I was under the force of my destiny, of my fate, and therefore I did what I had to do. And that's true. When you're under a curse and you feel an intense urge, an intense desire to want to do something, it's almost impossible to resist it if the curse is so strong as it would be from Hiranyakashipu. So therefore, although we have free will, the free will becomes controlled by the tremendous urge to do something. And therefore, somebody does it. Sometimes he wants to kill somebody, and he feels this urge. And he knows it's not right, but he can't help it. And he just does it. Because that urge, he's under some type of either curse or demoniac possession or just a terrible mode of ignorance, completely soaked or saturated with it. When that mode of ignorance strikes, it's very difficult. Just when the mode of goodness hits, you just want to do good things. You want to do kind things and loving things and warm things, considerate things. You want to help people. That's the nature. And we all know this because most of us are in the mode of goodness. And that's why we do things. We give garlands to devotees. We worship the deity. We make garlands for the deities. We pray to them. We offer them foodstuffs. We cook food for them and beg that the deities please accept these foodstuffs and bless them so that we can honor those foodstuffs and in turn, as a result of honoring them, become more spiritual so that we can serve them better, so that we can care for them better. We should never think that I've reached the summit. I can't go any higher than this. The feeling of a devotee is that he can always go higher, but he's just too ignorant to know how to do it. And if he understands this and he begs the Lord, please instruct me, please guide me from within or from without, any way through the books, how to serve you better, how to serve you with deeper feelings, how to serve with more love, how to serve with more glorification, a feeling that, wow, what an opportunity. I'm serving the Supreme Lord of the universe. What could be better? What could be higher or greater? Nothing. What a position Krishna has given me. Some people, they think that, they're serving a statue. What am I doing this for? I could be out earning $1,000 a week, serving at some restaurant or at some movie house or whatever. They think like that. So they don't stay very long. But when a devotee actually realizes that he's gotten the chance, the opportunity to serve Krishna, God, the one person who's running the universe, controlling the universe, who's everywhere present, who's able to give anything and everything to anyone, and who is so full of love and kindness and sweetness and compassion and mercy and grace. He's full of all of these things. And I've got the chance to serve such a wonderful, incredible person. This is the attitude that we have to do our service in. We should never have a robotic or mechanical or indifferent or ho-hum mentality when we serve, because we've been given a great gift. And if you lose that gift, how many thousands or millions of years it may be before we get it again. Krishna has given it to us, and if we are truly appreciative of this, then Krishna gives us more gifts. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So as we surrender, Krishna gives us more and more and more of what? Himself. And what is that self? That self is bliss. That self is peace. That self is truth. That self is love. That self is confidence, security, strength. These are some of the qualities that Krishna has, which he gives us. And the more love he gives us, the more we can express that love to Krishna through our service, through our conversations with devotees, in our prayers with the Lord. This is all the means, the way that we grow by gaining the grace. We make the effort, but the effort alone is not enough. Srila Prabhupada says this over and over and over again. Your effort is not enough. You must secure the grace of Krishna. when he gives you that, the effort is your means. The effort is your way of saying, yes, I'm willing to do anything and everything in order to please you. And then when Krishna sees that and it comes out in your loving service, well, then he wants to reciprocate. Krishna is very much like any of us in certain ways. If somebody does something nice for you, gives you a gift, or says some nice words to us, or tells a lot of people of how nicely you're doing, and you hear this, it's only natural that you want to reciprocate. You want to give something back to the person. So Krishna is no different when he sees, when he sees that his devotees are praising him and honoring him and glorifying him, surrendering to him, and sharing him through the book distribution process or through the word of mouth process. When he sees that the devotee is doing all these things, he wants so much to give back, and he does. So when we feel that spring of happiness, we spring that bubble of joy flowing through us, that is Krishna's grace. And when we feel it, we should not just accept it, and just be, well, I must be a great devotee because Krishna has given me all that wonderful ecstasy. That's the last thing we want to think. The only thing to think is, why me? I'm so fallen, so wretched, so worthless, so useless. All I do is forget you all day long. And occasionally I remember you. Why are you giving me all this grace, this bliss, this joy, this happiness? I don't deserve it. I shouldn't be getting it. And yet, out of compassion, out of mercy, out of kindness, out of sweetness, out of your appreciation for the little that I have done, this is what you are heaping upon me. Your peace, your bliss, your love, your joy. So much so that when I kirtan is on, I just want to jump. I want to clap. I want to dance. This is what you're doing for me and to me. So the devotee in that mentality, you see, he gets more mercy from the Lord because the devotee is not taking it for granted. We realize that we have such a debt of gratitude to the Lord because he has forgiven us for so many offenses and sins and wrongs and things that we have done which we should not have done, which we may not haven't even said I'm sorry for. But because we're making the stalwart effort to become a better devotee, Krishna considers us saintly. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he's engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he's situated in his determination. This is what Krishna says. Sure, I see your sins. Sure, I see your wrongs. Sure, I see the bad, but I see so much good. And that's where my mind focuses. And I will continue to encourage you. I will continue to stimulate you, to engender in you more and more devotional love and service. And especially during our Ratha Yatra, there was so much devotion and love. Especially I see Savas with a big, he never stopped smiling. He was getting that pleasure. Although he had innumerable responsibilities, so many things to get done. And yet you can see that the Lord was just flowing through him so that these things would get done. And when they were done, how could you not feel happy? So many thousands and thousands of people chanting Hare Krishna. What could be less? It's such a wonderful scene. This is what we live for, to see the devotees, non-devotees, everyone coming together and just chanting the Lord's name because he deserves to receive that kind of glorification. So, therefore, now, as I said, we have Kamsa, and he's acting in a uplifting fashion, uplifted fashion, and he's begging for forgiveness from Devaki and Vasudeva. And the amazing thing here, at least what I learn, and I hope everyone else will learn it, is that when he asks for forgiveness, Devaki and Vasudeva, they forgive him. They don't say, well, let me sit on it, or let me sleep on it. Because after all, you killed, 6 of our babies, so that's like, it's no small crime. It's a big time crime. Most person would say, forgive you? All I want to do is strangle you, string you up, and then cut off your feet and your hands. I hear some of these prison cases, sometimes you're listening to the news and the prisoner he's also a serial killer. He's murdered 15 people and 3 of them are for your family. And he says, I just like to just to say I'm sorry and please forgive me. He says to the family, and they forgive you. If I had a shotgun, I'd shoot you right now. That's the mentality. Why? Because they feel hurt. And they can't get rid of the hurt. And yet, Devaki and Vasudeva on a totally, completely different platform. Just think about what they did to achieve this incredible platform that they're on. The ability to forgive and forget instantly. When they see tears coming from Kamsa's eyes, when he's speaking in a very, very tremulous and very begging and entreating fashion. So they see that and okay, it's over, finished. They know that Krishna is saved, at least for the time being, surely. He's in Yashoda's, he's under security there. And Kamsa's not going to get him because Kamsa knows that the person who's supposed to kill him is somewhere. Of course, a little later on, it's not long after, he has a consultation with his ministers and asks them what their suggestion is. And what is their suggestion? Don't wait a moment. Every child who was born within the last 10 days, kill him, murder him, a reign of terror. Now, if Kamsa was, he was sincere to Devaki because, of course, she's beloved of Durga. But here we have a different situation. So he's still frightened that one out there, that one born elsewhere is going to kill him. So therefore, he has all his soldiers all over Mathura. They're knocking on doors, seeing who was born in the last 10 days. And if there was a baby there, just killed, one after another. And then the demons, they go throughout the pasturing grounds, like Trinarvata, like Putana, Pralambasura, Trinavarta, all those demons that disguise themselves because they want to kill this person. But they all get killed one after another because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and nobody can defeat him. He is all-powerful and all-knowing and all-loving. So, this is the situation here. Now, how did Devaki and Vasudeva, how did they acquire such a quality? Look at that. We have tolerance. They're tolerating. They've tolerated all this. They've seen their children murdered. Tolerance, endurance, patience, perseverance. These wonderful qualities are there. Their faith that God will somehow do the needful and the best. So let's go back in time when Vasudeva and Devaki were Prishni and Sutapa at the beginning of the world. And they wanted to have a son who would be the Supreme Lord. So they went into the forest and they lived in the forest for thousands of years, subjected to the rain, the cold, the sleet, the snow, the heat. And they lived on what? Anybody remember what they lived on? Okay, dry leaves. They don't taste as good as fresh leaves like spinach and lettuce and things like that. They don't taste very good. So they lived on dry leaves for years and years. What austerity? Now, austerity, we're encouraged to perform austerity. The one's coming up just tomorrow. We're supposed to just go to at least till 12 midnight without eating any food. You can take some water. Many devotees, they go through this. Even though they're feeling hungry, even though they're in distress, even though they got a headache here, even though they feel weak there, but because Krishna is worth suffering for. That's the key idea. Is Krishna worth suffering for? Did he do something for me or many things for me that I owe him? So let me try to pay back an infinitesimal degree of love to him. I owe I'm giving something back, but I'm not giving back even anywhere, even a fraction of what I owe. All the forgiveness he's given me, all the compassion, all the wonderful things, the food and the clothing and the shelter, and the great guru, Srila Prabhupada, and his great books, and I can go on and on and on. So doesn't he deserve a little bit? Can't we suffer a little for him? We need to be thinking like that. And I know certain devotees, no matter what, they're going to go through this. And they will. And I hope almost everyone will. But in case you're having a nervous breakdown, please eat. Because we don't want that getting out in the papers. Besides, we don't want you having to go into Brotman's hospital, and because then we'll have to take off from our service and visit you. So we'd rather have you here doing service rather than in misery land. So that's the long and short of it. That our real business is to sacrifice for Krishna. The more we sacrifice, the more we surrender, the more we give up our little time, we give up our little sense pleasure. Every time you give up every one of us has some particular sense pleasure really dear, like somebody likes sandesh, another person likes sweet rice, another person likes pasta, another person likes pizza. Everybody has one little pet pleasure. So if you can give up that pet pleasure for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, be out of love for Krishna, that I'm willing to bear a little distress so that I can gain for some blessings from you to love you more. That's the whole idea of blessings, to love Krishna more and then to give him more, to serve with more quality, with more love, so that ultimately, when the time comes for us to leave this world, we go back home, back to Godhead, and continue our loving, desirable, wonderful service to Krishna. Isn't that what we want? So a little pain, a little suffering, what of it? And those persons I know who are willing, who do that and who bear it, all kinds of distresses and difficulties, they never complain. Those who are really advanced, they welcome it. Because, an opportunity to suffer for Krishna. He's taken so much from me. I've kicked him in the face so many times. And now I get a chance to suffer a little, to get some back. It's a wonderful attitude. And Krishna loves when he sees that. He doesn't withdraw grace from you. He keeps pouring it on. When he withdraws grace is when we become proud, we become envious, we think we're great, we think we're doing the temple a favor, we think we're doing the temple president a favor, we think we're doing this devotee a favor. This is how you lose grace. But when we think that it's hello? Yeah, can you turn that off, please? I'm almost finished. T-Mobile calling. Doesn't it have a little button? Mine does, where you can just turn it off. Thank you. Anyway, I'm just about finishing. That was a wonderful conclusion. That was the climax, that beautiful melody that we just heard. So anyway, the important point that I'd like to end with is that yes, we should simply be willing to bear whatever is necessary and offer it to Krishna in such a way that we don't even want to be thanked because we owe it. So we don't want to be thanked, and I don't want to be thanked with the T-Mobile melody. So I thank you all very much for your kindness, for your love, for your affection. It's been a pleasure speaking, and please pray for me that I can fast at least till 12 midnight on Janmashtami. Hare Krishna.